Well, good morning, everyone. A great big howdy to everybody. I'd like to get started quickly, and I'm going to be talking about some passages from the recent NC State budget for this year. That is over $363 million for agriculture, natural resource priorities. With the passage of the state budget last month, state agriculture and natural resource priorities will see investments of more than $363 million. The net appropriation set aside in the budget for agriculture and natural resources is $180,926,866 for the fiscal year of 23, and it proceeds to $182,244,062 for the fiscal year of 2024-25. So the appropriations have gone up, and there'll be more money for different entities and agencies to spend regarding agriculture. These are the words of Commissioner of Agriculture Steve Troxler. Overall, I am pleased with the 2023-24 state budget, and I am grateful for the legislature's continued investment in and support of agriculture, agribusinesses, and our farmers, State Agriculture Commissioner Steve Troxler said in an email statement to the NC State Journal, which is a publication out of Raleigh. Specifically, that includes $25 million in funding for farmland preservation efforts, which I believe is critically needed, $20 million in the stream flow rehabilitation assistance program, which is focused on reducing downstream flooding from tropical storms and hurricanes, $20 million for the North Carolina Agriculture Manufacturing and Processing Initiative, a new project to attract and facilitate more agribusiness development, and nearly $8 million in funding for our agricultural research stations. I believe these are practical and smart investments benefiting our whole state. Top line figures include $12 million for food banks, $20 million for stream maintenance and restoration, $25 million for farmland preservation programs, $37.5 million for disaster resiliency and flood mitigation issues, and $56 million in grants for the conservation of land, parks, and trails. Items with recurring funds over the two-year budget include $260,000 for the large animal health enhancement, $300,000 for the Christmas tree genetics program, $1 million for the North Carolina sweet potato promotion, and $7.95 million for the research stations operating fund. The Agriculture Analytics Platform initiative run by the SAS Institute at NC State will see recurring funds of $650,000 in year one of the budget and another $1 million in year two. Similarly, at North Carolina A&T, the SAS Analytics program will receive $1 million in recurring funds for both years of the budget. Farmland preservation, a long-time priority of North Carolina Agriculture Steve Troxler, will get $10 million in year one and $15 million in year two. The funding is non-recurring. Also under farmland preservation, the Tobacco Trust Fund will receive $7 million each year overall. One of the largest appropriations is the $20 million in non-recurring funds during year one of the budget for stream flow rehabilitation assistance program, which provides grants for projects aimed at reducing flooding and restoring streams across the state. The North Carolina Department of Commerce will get $500,000 in year one to spend on a study of NC agribusiness economic development. Education-wise, $2 million each year in non-recurring funds will be used for career and technical education grants for middle and high school students studying agriculture through North Carolina State University's Agricultural Extension. Under the budget, the oversight of the Tobacco Farm Life Museum is moved to the Department of Natural and Cultural Resources. The money set aside for the museum in year one is $375,000 in a mix of recurring and non-recurring funding, and $350,000 in recurring funds in year two. Other appropriation items of note include $100,000 North Carolina Cattlemen's Association year one non-recurring, $250,000 first annual North Carolina Farmers Appreciation Day, which will be year one non-recurring, $350,000 Green Industry Economic Impact Study via NC State University, year one non-recurring, $512,000 North Carolina Christmas Tree Association, year one non-recurring, $883,000 Community Conservation Assistance Program, $333,000 in year one non-recurring, and $500,000 in year two non-recurring. $2 million Agriculture Cost Share Program for French Broad River Basin livestock farmers. This is year one non-recurring. $3.5 million Agricultural Cost Share Program year one non-recurring. So these are some very positive appropriations. They will help sustain agribusiness and agriculture for the coming year. And I appreciate all the good work that Commissioner Steve Troxler has put forth to make this happen from his department and his staff, as well as the good work that our many farmers do day in and day out. Changing the subject this morning, ladies and gentlemen, we have an icon that we have loved all through the years, 80 years that is, Smokey the Bear. And by the efforts of Smokey, we are reminded to be responsible when we light fires, particularly campfires, outdoor fires, etc. Here's a little background to this success story. For nearly 80 years, the friendly face of Smokey the Bear has been a familiar sight to generations of Americans and has been a central part of the U.S. government's efforts to prevent wildfires. This lovable character, a brown bear wearing a ranger's cap and sometimes carrying a shovel, has been featured on billboards, posters, and postage stamps, as well as in magazine, television, and radio public service announcements. Today, Smokey even appears in internet videos, but now, as always, his message is the same, reminding all Americans to be careful with matches, fully extinguish their campfires and grills, and exercise caution when handling fire. In 1905, the U.S. Department of Agriculture established a Forest Service that was tasked with, among other things, preventing wildfires. To that end, the agency supported research into the causes of wildfires in U.S. forests. The studies revealed that human carelessness and maliciousness accounted for 9 out of 10 forest fires in the United States, and that these fires were often started as a result of campfires that were left unattended, as well as by discarded matches and other careless behaviors involving fire. To publicize these findings and discourage this harmful behavior, the United States Department of Agriculture Forest Service created posters and displayed them in parks and other public places. One notable poster that was part of this campaign in 1937 depicted Uncle Sam dressed as a forest ranger and pointing at a raging forest fire. At the feet of the Uncle Sam character were the scolding words, "Your forest, your fault, your loss." Concerns about wildfires in the United States grew after Japan attacked Pearl Harbor in December 7, 1941, and America entered World War II. With most available manpower and resources that had been allowed to allocated to fighting wildfires now devoted to the war effort, the United States Department of Agriculture Forest Service's ability to protect U.S. forests was greatly diminished. After a Japanese submarine bombarded an area near California's Los Padres National Forest in 1942, government officials feared the Japanese might seek to set fire to forests on the nation's west coast in an effort to divert manpower and resources from the war effort. Even if this never happened, natural wildfires and fires set by Americans were ongoing problems, and these fires alone would be difficult to deal with given the lack of resource available during wartime. Faced with these realities, the United States Department of Agriculture Forest Service turned to its forest fire prevention publicity campaign as a way to protect the country's forests. As part of the push to expand its wildfire prevention campaign, the USDA Forest Service joined with the War Advertising Council, which was a volunteer organization of leading advertising executives, and the National Association of State Foresters to form the Cooperative Forest Fire Prevention Program. In 1942 and 1943, the primary focus of this organization was campaigns, which included poster displays, postcards, postage stamps, and radio advertisements. Was how forest fires would serve as an aid to the nation's enemies. One poster that emerged from the campaign showed caricatures of Adolf Hitler and Japanese Prime Minister Tojo above a burning forest. The poster's message was clearly stated with the following words: "Our carelessness, their secret weapon, prevent forest fires." Early war-focused messages like these proved effective, but artists working with the organization felt that the Forest Fire Prevention Program needed a mascot to embody the campaign and provide the public with positive messages about fire prevention. Toward this end, Harry Russell, an artist working for the United States Department of Agriculture Forest Service, created several sketches of potential mascots, including a human forest ranger and a beaver who put out forest fires with his tail. In 1943, Russell sketched a fire prevention cartoon centered on a bear wearing a forest ranger's cap. The bear was depicted as angrily berating a camper for leaving a fire unattended. Though some of Russell's ideas showed promise, none of them were approved for use by the campaign. The first animal mascot for fire prevention from this group was not approved until 1944, and they were not created by local artists. Instead, they were drawn from the popular 1942 Walt Disney film Bambi, and the poster upon which they appeared carried the following message: "Please, mister, don't be careless. Prevent forest fires. Greater danger than ever." These highly recognizable animal characters proved effective at conveying the wildfire prevention message. However, Walt Disney only donated the use of the characters for a single year, leaving the organization, that is the fire prevention organization, for a new solution to look for in the 1945 campaign. Realizing that the group needed a character of its own to carry the program forward, the program's leaders began looking for a permanent mascot and reviewed several possibilities, including Harry Russell's bear character. Ultimately, it was decided that Russell's bear sketch could serve as the basis for a new character, but that his original character was too angry for the part. The new character, it was decided, should be a calm, friendly bear wearing a forest ranger's uniform. For this name, the program leaders took inspiration from a real-life firefighting hero and called the bear Smokey after Smokey Joe Martin, a renowned New York City Fire Department firefighter. Now, that's all the time I have this morning, folks. Next week, I'll try to pick back up on this insight into Smokey the Bear, a very beloved character we have grown to love through the years. That concludes my report this morning. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for allowing me into your homes. Have a good week, and God bless.